Hello. Today we are going to get to know the most widespread type of weaving in the technique of a rope. Actually, we have already woven almost all of our articles with it, but today I'd like to dwell on all the essential points. We are going to get to know how to weave in a regular rope, opposite rope, and we are also going to get to know the varieties of patterns composed on the basis of rope woven of colored tubes when changing the color of tubes. Here you can see the pattern of rope. Here there are the varieties of colors. We are getting kind of columns. We are going to get to know how to make them today. Here there are columns as well. The article is not varnished yet, but the pattern is noticeable already. Here there are columns as well. Here they are. Here there are columns as well, but with shifting of colors. It is what we are going to do today. I've taken a plastic flour cashew pot, made it heavier with the help of a bottle. You can also put here a kilo of sugar, flour, grain, anything. Then I have woven a bottom and passed from the bottom to the walls. Here you can fix the poles with clothespins, but I've gotten used to do without them. It is up to you. Choose the way it is more convenient for you. In the first row the tubes are slanted, we are making them straight by the first row. So we are already familiar with the rope weaving, let's repeat it. Lead the tube behind the pole, take the previous one and lead it behind the pole. Lead the previous one behind the pole. Moreover, in the first row we make our pole straight. Lead, press tightly. Shape the first row, making the tube straight. It is what rope, direct rope, is. And this way up to the end of the row. Make straight in the process. And this way we have woven the whole row. Now I'd like to show you the opposite rope. To get a braid, or you can call it furtery as well as a result. It is where we were starting. We have reached this place, and what is our next action? Before now we were leading the tube here to weave in the technique of a rope. Now we do it a bit differently. We lead our tube under the second and behind this pole. Take the next one, and instead of leading it above as we usually do, we lead it from under the second tube and embrace our pole with it. And this way the whole row. Notice the difference. For some reason it has taken me a long time to understand this pattern. I don't know why. Not this way as we usually do, but under the second working tube and behind the pole. Under the second working tube and behind the same pole. As a result we are getting a braid, notice. So far we are weaving in one color and getting such a pattern of braid, or it can be also called furtery, and this way up to the end of the row. We have reached the beginning of our weaving. As a result we've got a row of such a braid. To make another row of a braid we pass to a direct rope again. That is, we lead the working tube from above. It is our regular rope. We weave a row in this technique and then the next one in the opposite one. As a result, the pattern of direct opposite braid. So we have woven 3 rows of braid, which is 6 rows of rope. The first, third and fifth rows are direct rope. The second, fourth and sixth are the opposite one. As a result, we get such a nice pattern. One more note. For convenience, I always mark the beginning of the row with a clothespin, or fix something else onto this tube. Here is a place of passing from one row to another. The next stage. We will see how one can make the pattern different with the help of colors. I try to do it in such a way to change the color of the tube behind the pole. Here I have to change the color. I cut the tube, insert it into the tube of a different color. Well, I've been a bit wrong. This way I've changed the color behind the pole and continue weaving. Now I've pointed out that there are an even quantity of the poles. Now I'm going to weave several rows in the technique of a direct rope. And we will get a kind of columns in a regular direct rope, but with the tubes of different colors. So we have woven 3 rows. If we continue further, we will get this kind of pattern, columns, but I feel like making some change. What we do? We change the color of tubes. We insert the pink tube into the brown one. Behind this pole we insert a dark brown tube into a pink one. Try to make the change of colors behind the pole. Mark the beginning and continue weaving in the same direct rope. Look, pink over the brown, brown over the pink, everything is right, continue. I have separated the colored pattern from the next one with 3 rows of rope. And what else am I going to do? I'd like to show you 2 colored varieties on one article. I have added 1 more tube in the process of weaving. You see it is of different height. What I've done it for? For the next type of weaving we need an odd quantity of the poles. And because we were weaving on the even number, we had to change something. Instead of cutting, I've just added 1 more tube. So what we do? We change the color again behind our transition pole for pink and continue weaving in the technique of a direct rope. But on the odd number of the poles the pattern will be different. You will see it in a couple of rows. Continue weaving in the technique of a regular rope. I have woven 4 rows and you can see what is the difference. We have ropes in both cases, but here the rope is made on the even number of the poles, while here it is made on the odd number. We see that our pink stripe shifts every time. Now one more pattern I like very much. I have woven 4 rows and counted that the pink one is the 4th from the beginning of weaving everywhere. Now I make a so-called turn. I have woven 4 rows and the next 4 rows will be woven in the technique of an opposite rope. That is, I change nothing but for the way of placing the rope. We start the opposite rope. And we will get kind of turnover pattern. A very interesting pattern. The opposite rope I have already shown to you. That is, we lead under the working tube and behind the pole. Under the second working tube and behind the next pole. Under the working tube and behind the next pole. And this way 4 rows. So I have woven 3 rows. How I count where to stop? I have counted 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look, there have to be 4 stitches in this direction as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it has to be this way in every row. Count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is, I've woven 3 rows to get an even pattern. If I want to continue this pattern of fur tree, then I have to start weaving further in the direct rope. And afterwards in the opposite rope again. That is, alternating, the first 4 rows have been woven in the technique of a direct rope, then the 3 rows in the opposite, 3 direct and 3 opposite. That is, counting the number of stitches, you are unlikely to mistake. To me, the moment when I have to pass to the opposite rope or to the direct one again. So I have to sum up. All these patterns are made on the basis of a rope, direct and opposite rope, and varieties of it in color on the even and the odd number of the poles.